It's not the same going to see a band in another city. It just isn't. It's nice to go see a band you love and then be able to go home in 10 minutes. Or go to a pub you like, or go and be excited with your friends, or go do whatever. That's really important.
Been playing music in the Inverness area for years, but and Ironworks was always the place that people wanted to play. There's loads of good venues in the area, but they're much smaller, and they're always connected to bars and things like that. Whereas to have a standalone venue that was, around 1,000 cap or something like that was always the place to be.
Being able to see a band you really love in a 1,000 capacity venue that sounds amazing is great. People, and bands love it. People.
When you open the doors from the dressing room to go through, it's breeze blocks on the walls, so you can kind of hear the rumble of the crowd that's sort of starting to build and stuff like that. And it's a pretty iconic corridor. When you're walking down there, you can kind of feel there's a bit of pressure because you're looking over and Calvin Harris's name is written on the wall. Yeah, that's when the nerves are really starting to set in. Sold it out, and it was incredible. To have this continued support for as long as I've been playing music is massive. It's so important. It's important that after you do something like that you leave your mark. You got to find a little space where you can. So we, of course, leaving the skeleton elephant. It's got to be done, and that was our bass player Seth Tinsley who created that. And goodness knows who wrote I Love Nightworks, but we'll see. Yeah, you got to leave your mark. I just realised that the elephant's doing a big horo fart. Yeah. As well.
Smaller venues are important, but it was also really important to have this thing at the end, or an opportunity after you got to a point where you'd done so much work and you could scale it up.
Local bands, this gives them a platform to play bigger shows, to support bigger acts. And these pub gigs that bands do, it's great, and the exposure's fantastic.
Had the pub venues, which were great, but they were ultimately pub gigs, so there wasn't a sort of dedicated music venue. So it's quite a lot of sort of DIY culture going on, where if you wanted to put on a gig, you just had to sort of get on with it and do it yourself.
Coming to a venue like this, it really opens your eyes from a performance aspect of how you act on stage, your stage presence.
Yeah, and I think for us as well, for the spring break stuff, it was good for us because we were able to, do shows on a bigger stage with the tech spec that sort of entails.
From fractured cabinets to being, demonstrating making greatest hits. We may not have long on this earth, so best savour it. Like an old lover's fragrance, it makes sense. Carpe diem, they make my life mayhem. Stems from the trees, seized in my playpen. Pour my heart out, say when, now, amen.
What's the fascination with procrastination?
A lot of our first shows were done on stages about the size of a 2x4 as well, so it's nice to have a bit of freedom of movement as well,
Yeah, it was a fantastic thing. It kind of opened the doors to new experiences for us, and quite quickly we managed to bag a couple of gigs here. We played with bands like Father Son and a band at the time who were really making waves across MTV. General Fiasco.
I think it's good because there's been sort of larger touring bands coming here that there's nowhere else really in the town that they would be able to play, and there's generally been local support.
It was good to be able to rub shoulders with bands like this, and at such a young age as well, to have opportunities like that in a big venue again on your doorstep. It's just unbelievable.
There's people from Inverness who have grown and kind of established themselves, got their first gigs here, and they've been going for 10 years, The Outsiders, Spring Break, Elephant Sessions, Horo, people like that who've built up a reputation in Inverness, and they can bring everyone along and they can see in front of them their people.
Ross Lyle offered me a gig to do an over 14s night when I was about 15, 16 years old. And obviously that to me was the world, to be able to DJ at the Ironworks. It is a really high quality standard when you play the Ironworks. It's kind of a wee glimpse of being a touring artist. I never went to the Ironworks for specific artists. I went for the club nights that I knew at the time, like Filth. It was more like a gathering place for a lot of people who were into the same sort of music at the time for me.
Yeah, I mean, as I've kind of got older and got interested in different genres of music, it's not just the folk music that we play and getting to play here, but there's dance events that are getting sold out of DJs that are playing worldwide. You know, you're getting really, really credible names coming here.
I guess you could say from first walking in here, I didn't imagine that I would be working here as a regular in-house technician.
The Ironworks has been an incredible opportunity for me. The development that I've been able to have through working here, using the equipment that's here, working with an incredible lighting guy, and the experience I don't think I would have been able to gain anywhere else.
So when this place was getting kitted out, I managed to get a wee sneak preview thanks to my auntie. Never thought, standing up at the balcony, that this would kind of be where my career headed.
The opportunity to work with great bands, doing the New Year's shows, the Hogmanay shows here is such a cool thing to do.
Since then, been connected to it, and it's always really been a part of my life.
While I was away, this venue opened. I was watching videos of this place kind of full of people and that level of production, and I could just see like the opportunities they were getting. It was great to see, but it made me eager to get a piece of it. You know, I want to be involved in what's happening at home.
Like, I was always into music, but I was never as passionate as it kind of made me when having a venue like this and being able to go to gigs so regularly. Saw Ian McLaughlin, the Outsiders, supporting Reverend and the Makers, and myself and my friend at the time, we were watching, like, seeing this local band on the big stage, going, wow, like, we could try something like that. If
You're playing the Ironworks, you're probably doing okay. You've got a little bit of legitimacy about you.
We accidentally headlined a gig at the Ironworks. It was one of the showcase events, which again was a fantastic thing to have for the local music scene. And a band pulled out and we got bumped up the bill, ended up headlining. So that was quite a bizarre experience at 17 years old to say that you've headlined a show at the Ironworks.
Even from a very young age, it gave us that kind of credit that we probably shouldn't have had at that point, really, because it was very early days for us.
And as far as putting on shows, I accidentally became a music producer, I guess, by making our second record to the best of my ability with what I had, and then that led on to other productions. So I mean, the shows that I put on, the shows I'm involved with, I've met all the people, I kind of know them. You're just herding the cats together to try and make them do something, because individually, none of us could really fill this place. I think that would be safe to say. But collectively, we can do something and have a great experience.
Tell me what you wanna see. I'm sure you what I can do.
I've been here 6 years. Like, started off here doing just the box office. When I'm not doing box office on the nights, I'm show repping. So, like, that'll be getting the bands on, opening the doors for the bands to come in and for crew to come in. My first gig here, I was, I think, 14. I was 14, and it was for Elliot Minor, if you remember them.
I attended a lot of gigs with friends from school and stuff. It was like the thing to do at the time with my group of friends, was just see what was coming up for the next however many months at the Ironworks.
Yeah, so I've been coming here for years, man. I mean, from the age of about 13, 14 to see all sorts of gigs.
Coming here when I was like a teenager, there was such excitement.
You got to see some cool bands that you wouldn't expect to see up this way.
And obviously heard about it through friends and just being like, wow, this is the Ironworks, that's wicked. And
I remember Ironworks just being such an iconic venue.
You know, somewhere like the Ironworks offers a completely different experience to other club spaces.
You know, it was the happiest times of my, childhood or my teenage years was coming here to gigs.
So to have these bands that we were all listening to come up to here was so good, and they were sellouts. They were always sellouts.
We're really privileged that we can just go down the street and we have this place.
It's a huge thing to have here for the city and the local music scene.
Break. Spring. Break. Spring. Break. Spring. Break.
Memories maligned, redesigned in the monastery. Medical melancholy mars me metabolically. Negative energy niggles nerves, perturbs pleasantry. Words are worthy weaponry, certainly hurting heavily, averting the emerging urge to divert to recipes of deliciously delectable disaster. Definitely skeptically scrawl withdrawal chapters, desperately stamped standards with an emphatic empathy. Telepathic waves triggered by genetic jealousy. LSD with celebrities wriggle restlessly. Feral felons, self-threats with sincerity. Twisted melons, Monday morning just bending me. Enemies of the straight and narrow from necessity. Blessed be, add gin jelly to the recipe. Messy 3-day dream state, essentially clean slate claimed. Each day we make melodies. And luxury, suddenly some of these cumbersome culinary accomplishments callously cashing on customary gossip. I know coffee's really not your cup of tea, but stop mugging me off, talk curmudgeonly, summoning subs and discouraging drudgery. Love is free, but the drugs ain't buddy bee. Brotherly hugs seem to be stuck in recovery currently, cumbersome with contemptible currency, clumsily consolidating sums of redundancy. Flat 61 bruv, buzzer 3, come at me, monetary misgivings linked in with lung disease. Some concede to cancer to some degree, defiant in the face of death, breathless huskily hacking out the last.